12 goals, 2 World Cup finals, 1 hat trick in a final against Argentina, and he still lost. That number sits with Kylian Mbappé every single day. And now, at 27 years old, he is walking into his 3rd World Cup, this time as the captain of the #1 ranked nation on the planet, with something to prove that no stat can fully capture. This is not just another World Cup. This is the moment where legacy gets decided. And when you line up the evidence, properly, stat by stat, the conclusion becomes almost impossible to argue with. Mbappé does not just arrive at this tournament as a star. He arrives as the most complete, most dangerous forward at any World Cup in a generation. Here is why. Let us start with the club season that just finished, because the numbers here are extraordinary. Across all competitions in 2025 to 26, Mbappé scored 43 goals in 39 matches for Real Madrid. That is 1.10 goals per game. Not a good return. Not a strong season. A historic rate. In La Liga alone, he finished as the top scorer with 25 goals, the same competition his club finished second in, meaning he carried Real Madrid's attacking output almost entirely on his own. And then there is the Champions League. 15 goals in 11 appearances. The UCL top scorer. A new competition record of 13 goals in the league phase alone. He scored 2 hat tricks. He became the 2nd player in Champions League history to score 4 goals in a single away match when he dismantled Olympiacos 4-3. These are not the numbers of a player who had a decent year. These are the numbers of a player who is in the form of his life going into the most important tournament of his career. But here is where I need to stop you from making the mistake most people are going to make about Mbappé at this World Cup, because every conversation about him focuses on the goals, the pace, the individual brilliance, and those things are real, but they are not the reason he is the most dangerous player in this tournament. I will get to the real reason in a moment. First, let us deal with the history, because this is the context that changes everything. 2018, Mbappé is 19 years old. He becomes the youngest French player in history to score at a World Cup. 4 goals. France win the trophy. And at 19 years and 183 days, he becomes only the 2nd teenager in history, after Pelé, to score in a World Cup final. 2022, Qatar, 8 goals in 7 matches, the Golden Boot. And then the final against Argentina, when France were 2-0 down, with the game seemingly over. Mbappé scored twice in under 2 minutes to pull his country level. Then Messi scored in extra time to make it 3-2. And Mbappé scored again, a penalty, to make it 3-3 in the final moments. A hat trick in a World Cup final, the first since Jeff Hurst in 1966. He still lost on penalties. He scored 12 World Cup goals across 2 tournaments, and has 1 winner's medal from one of them. 12 goals, 1 medal. Unfinished business. Now here is the number I want you to hold on to. Mbappé enters this World Cup with 56 goals for France in 96 international appearances. Olivier Giroud's all-time France record is 57. Just 1 goal separates Mbappé from becoming the greatest scorer in French football history. In the last international friendly against Brazil, he chipped the goalkeeper to make it 56. Against Colombia days later, coming on as a substitute in the 78th minute, he hit the post and had a goal ruled out. Denied that record on 2 separate occasions in 12 minutes. And in France's final warm-up on June 4th against Ivory Coast, a match France lost 2-1, Mbappé started the first half, created chances, but again did not score before being substituted at halftime as Deschamps rotated his squad. The record is coming. The only question is when. And that hunger, that unfinished business, is exactly what makes him so dangerous at this World Cup. Now, to be fair, the counter-argument is real, and I want to give it the respect it deserves. Real Madrid finished 2nd in La Liga this season. Mbappé missed 2 Champions League knockout matches through a knee injury. France's warm-up matches saw him managed carefully, rested and rotated across all 3 pre-tournament games. And France lost their final warm-up to Ivory Coast 2-1. For some analysts, that is a concern. Is he fully fit? Is Deschamps shielding him deliberately? These are fair questions, and I am not going to dismiss them. But before I give you my verdict, I want you to hold one more number in your head, because it reframes this entire debate. 43 goals this season, through a knee injury, through a turbulent club campaign, through managed minutes in warm-ups. He still finished as the top scorer in La Liga and the Champions League, in the same season. That is not a player managing his way through fitness concerns. That is a player so far above his competition that even a disrupted season produces historic numbers. Now here is my verdict, and I am going to be direct about this. Mbappe enters the 2026 World Cup as the most dangerous forward in this competition. Not because of his pace, not because of his technique, and not because of his goal record, remarkable as all of those things are. He is the most dangerous player here because of what he represents to every team that faces France in Group 1. Every manager whose side faces France, Senegal, Iraq, Norway, will spend their entire preparation week on one problem. How do we stop Mbappe? They will build their defensive shape around him. They will position their fullbacks differently because of him. They will tell their center backs to stay deeper because of him. And that fear, that total consuming focus on stopping one player, is exactly what frees Ousmane Dembélé on the right. It is what gives Michael Olise space in behind. It is what allows Marcus Thuram to arrive late into channels defenders have vacated. France's attacking depth at this World Cup is extraordinary. Dembélé won the Ballon d'Or this year. Olise is one of the most in-form attackers in Europe. And the reason all of it works, the reason they will have space to operate, is because every opponent is terrified of the man in the number 10 shirt. Here is the reframe I want to leave you with. Most people will watch this World Cup and judge Mbappe by his goals. How many did he score? Did he break the record? Did France win? But the real measure of how dangerous he was will be found in something harder to track. How many times did a defender abandon their position to follow him? How many times did a team sacrifice their natural shape because of where he was standing? Goals tell you what happened. Fear tells you why. That is not just a great player. That is a system-breaking force. Now I want to hear from you, because I know exactly what a significant number of you are thinking right now. Haaland. Norway are in France's group. Erling Haaland, the best pure striker on the planet, will face Mbappe's France directly in the group stage on June 26th. Same pitch, same tournament. One match that could define the narrative of the entire competition. So tell me in the comments, who comes out on top in that duel? And who is the more dangerous player at this World Cup overall? I read every single one, because that debate is one I genuinely want to have.